I asked you what was happening in your life when you read it, but I also told you before we started recording this that I wanted to share what was happening in my life that led to writing Free of Me, because I didn't really go into the details. And you were so funny because we were on the phone and I started to tell you, and you were like,
Stop telling me.
I want to hear it in real time when we're doing this. But
so we're both on the edge of our seats right now.
Yes.
I'm hearing this for the first time. That's how I wanted it to be.
So because it was kind of fresh at the time, I did not go into a lot of detail about what actually led to the book Free of Me. But what actually led to it, there was kind of a catalyzing event, which is that at the time, so this would have been, I don't even know, 2013, something like that maybe, I was writing. I was starting to speak more. I was in ministry. I loved it and was starting to get more writing opportunities, feeling like I was being more, recognized, whatnot. And then one day I got invited to this event with other Christian women who, many of them were people I looked up to. Some of them were people I considered to be peers, but it felt like this huge validation of my work and my leadership and my influence. And so I showed up to this event expecting to feel kind of like, okay, I have now arrived. Like, I've arrived. I'm going to be acknowledged by my idols, and which, is so funny too, idol being a very loaded word there. But being acknowledged by my idols, by my peers for what I do. And then I got there, and I have never felt more invisible in my entire life. And I remember getting there and just thinking, oh, they don't care about me at all. And even thinking when I would be in conversations with people, feeling like they're just wanting to get out of this to talk to, somebody else who is more important. And it was a couple days I was there, and I would go back to my room at the end of each day, and I would just cry and cry and cry. And it was so interesting because it wrecked me. And I had a couple of friends who I actually had known for longer than that experience, that I was processing it with them. And whenever you're with your peers, I think it naturally invites comparison. And so I feel like that's always there, but I was just trying to figure out, like, what is going on? Yeah. And what was especially strange about it is that when I left and went home, and I went home to Ike, and I was just like, hated it. It was terrible, But I didn't get over it either. Like, I think what I realized, I thought I was being invited into this inner ring. And C.S. Lewis talks about that. I don't know if you've ever read. He has this essay called The Inner Ring. I haven't. And it's so good. And he talks about this dynamic where he says if you live to get inside of this inner ring, what you will always discover is that there's just another inner ring. And I've witnessed this happen with friends of mine who their notoriety has, escalated. It's like, it doesn't really matter. You can be on the New York Times bestseller list, but, like, are you in Oprah's book club list? There's always, like, some other, like, inner ring. Yeah. And so just discovering, like, I thought I was being invited into the inner ring, only to discover that there was, like, a more exclusive inner ring. But before, I didn't know it was there. And now I knew it was there. And so everything after that I would write, that I would, publish, I was now kind of longing for, now that I know that this exists, how do I get acceptance from this crowd? And as long as I didn't get that acceptance, it was really devastating to me. And so for probably, I don't know, the next year or so, I really struggled with insecurity about my work, like my ministry, in a way that I'd never had. And I remember one night talking to Ike and just sobbing and being like, what is going on with me? Why am I so insecure? Why do I care what these people think who I don't really know them. Like why, this didn't matter to me before. Why is it devastating? Why is it shattering me now? And that was really the event that kind of sent me on this journey of realizing, okay, I'm struggling with insecurity. And it's interesting, very similar to what you described, is that sent me on the journey of figuring out, okay, how do I address this? And so I did start looking at literature, books, blogs, podcasts about insecurity, and it was all very like, you're great,
Right.
You're wonderful, there's nothing wrong with you,
Right.
God has created you with a purpose, all of this.
You're not missing anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything's perfect.
And none of it was helping me at all. Like, none of it made me feel any better. And at the end of that journey, just looking back and realizing, okay, whatever is going on inside of me, like, none of these resources, the like traditional resources on insecurity, are touching that thing inside of me. It must be something else. And a big breakthrough for me was reading Tim Keller's The Freedom of Self-Forgetfulness, and realizing, oh, maybe it's because what's going on with me is not low self-esteem, which I think a lot of those messages really are for, is for someone who doesn't see themselves the way God sees them. And you need the truth of Scripture. But for me, I had made my ministry and my calling about me. And everything was a referendum on my value and my worth because of that. And so that was kind of the light bulb moment of realizing, no, this isn't about low self-esteem. This is actually about self-preoccupation. But also, the thing, I love Tim Keller's book, but it's also very, very short. And it's big picture, it's not practical. And so the question was then, okay, how do I actually walk this out? And so that was the birth of Free of Me, was figuring out, okay, I see that this is the problem, but if it was as simple as you just need to stop focusing on yourself, like, that would be great. But that's not how it works. And so Free of Me was born out of that journey. So that's the backstory.
Wow. I'm so glad you didn't tell me on the phone.
So there you go.
And that's so, like the idea that arrogance and insecurity are both flip sides of the same pride coin. It's both, it's pride, even whether you feel great about yourself or you feel terrible about yourself.
Yeah.
And the solution to both, it can be nuanced, but it's ultimately about getting rid of the self-preoccupation.
Yeah.